Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Brandon here, aka Scourge of Vinyl. Time for the next installment of my top 40 albums of 2018. This video is going to be for albums 20 to 11. Before I get into it, I'm just going to repeat what I've already said. This is an opinion based list, it is based on my opinion. If you don't like it, make your own list. So, with that being said, let's get started with number 20. This is Jungle Rot with their self-titled album. Jungle Rot from Illinois. This came out on the just awful Victory Records. They're so out of place on that label, but that's an Illinois-based label, Illinois-based band. I guess that's the connection. But old school death metal. This band's been doing it for a long time. I feel like they get overlooked or underappreciated, but such a great discography. When I have that itch for just a really groovy, stompy, heavy, old school type of death metal, Jungle Rot is always a go-to for me. And you have songs on this album like Send Forth Oblivion, Delusional Denial that are fucking bangers. Fearmonger, which features Schmier from Destruction on vocals, so you get a little bit of thrash there. And they even have a cover of Creator's Terrible Certainty. So you got your thrash, you got your groove, you got your brutal, you got your old school. Uh, this album checks all the boxes for me. I fucking loved it. The cover art was phenomenal. Maybe my favorite cover art of the year. Jungle Rot with their self-titled coming in at number 20. Next up, a highly anticipated album for many, Evoking with Hypnagogia. This came out on Profound Lore Records. Um, I had so many trusted sources and friends telling me you gotta listen to the new Evoking album, so I picked it up without listening to any of it. And the first time I listened to it, I listened to it all the way through, right along with the lyrics. It was a truly rewarding experience, I'll say. It's got a World War One theme to it. Uh, Funeral Doom, one of the best bands doing this style for sure. Songs like the opening track, The Fear After, and Schadenfreude really caught my attention. There's a couple instrumental tracks on here, Hypnagogia, the title track, and Hypnopompic. You've got your really slow, dirging Funeral Doom parts. There's some parts where they pick it up a little bit. The vocals range from growls to clean sung. Um, just great craftsmanship, great musicianship going on, perfect production. What a fucking outstanding album from Evoking. Hypnagogia at number 19. Number 18. This is an album that I didn't expect to be on this list, let alone this high. Behemoth, I Loved You at Your Darkest. I don't know what it is about this album, but it really grew on me. The first time I heard the single God Equals Dog, I was not impressed. The first time I listened to this album, I left feeling underwhelmed. But there was something about it that kept me coming back. I've been a fan of Behemoth for a long time. I love The Satanist. This is not The Satanist Part 2, but it is a very well written, well put together album. I'm not going to knock Behemoth for being a successful extreme metal band, because make no doubt about it, Behemoth is a huge name in the metal community at this point. Um, but there's nothing that detracts that from this album. I mean, there's nothing poppy about this. There's nothing mainstream about this. This is still a death and black metal album, and just because they've quote unquote made it, who gives a shit? Good for them. They've worked hard. They've earned it. So I don't give a shit. I think this is a really great album. Lots of great songs on here. Behemoth with I Loved You at Your Darkest. Number 17. This is Ritual Necromancy with Disinterred Horror. This was a Dark Descent Records release. My introduction to Ritual Necromancy was when I saw them at Maryland Death Fest this year, and I was quite impressed with their live show. I went and bought this from them. It hadn't come out just yet, but they had copies. And this has everything that I want from a modern death metal album. The production, the mixing and mastering is flawless. All the levels, drums, guitars, vocals, bass, everything is on point. So, kudos to whoever took care of that aspect. Um, there's 5 tracks on here. It clocks in at like 40 to 45 minutes, so it's a longer album, and it's got a little bit of everything. It's got some doomy parts. It's got some atmospheric parts. It's got some fast parts. It's got some heavy parts. A lot going on here, and every time I listened to this album, I left with a feeling of wow, what a fucking great album. So that's how it made its way up to 17 on my list. Ritual Necromancy with Disinterred Horror. At number 16, Archgoat with The Luciferian Crown. Finland's finest, if you ask me. And this is just another incredible album to add to Archgoat's discography. At this point, I feel like I don't need to say too much about Archgoat. Just blasphemous black and death metal. Standout tracks on here are Jesus Christ, Father of Lies, Messiah of Pigs, Darkness Has Returned. This is just Archgoat being Archgoat, and it's so fucking good. Released by Debimir Morty Productions, Archgoat, The Luciferian Crown. Listen to that shit. Number 15, Petrification with Hollow of the Void. This is another band that I was introduced to at Maryland Death Fest. I had seen this name on the Sentient Ruin Bandcamp, and I was excited to witness their set, and it was heavy as fucking balls. This is just a real throwback, kind of grimy, dungeonous, sewer-dwelling type of death metal album. Really fucking heavy. Songs like Technological Assimilation, Summon Horrendous Destruction. Sometimes you even get like a little bit of a punky feel to it, maybe kind of like the way Autopsy does it. But man, I think this is a band that really needs to get a little bit more attention, a little bit more notoriety out there. And this is a great start for Petrification with Hollow of the Void. Coming in at number 15. Number 14, Chemists with Desolation. Great doom metal band, a little bit of traditional heavy metal influence in there as well. Their vocalist has such an amazing voice, and then they sprinkle in some growls, some deeper stuff here and there. So give it a little pop, a little sizzle, you know what I mean? And they don't overdo it. It's perfectly placed. The whole first side of this record, side A, Bloodletting, Isolation, which might have been the newest song that I listened to the most this year, and then Flesh to Nothing, made it very difficult to flip to side B. But side A of this record is astonishing. And this is a band that I see big things for. When you talk about kind of like the casual metal fan, the more mainstream stuff, people listening to Metallica and Ghost, and not that there's anything wrong with that. I like those bands, but there are people who just might not be as privy to what's going on in the underground or with smaller bands. But I think once Chemists reaches that demographic, they're gonna fucking just blow up. I see big things coming for this band. 3 solid full lengths under their belts now. This, the latest, Desolation. Number 13, Faust Coven with In the Shadow of Doom. This was released by Nuclear Worn Out Productions. They are a band from Norway that combines elements of black metal and doom metal into one cohesive sound. And I don't think that I've ever heard a band take black metal and doom metal and so efficiently and effortlessly and almost just perfectly fuse the two together to create a very eerie, a very dark, a very I hate to use the word atmospheric, but it is extremely atmospheric listen. Really just dark, shadowy sounds. I mean, whew, what an album. My favorite track, Marching in the Shadow of Doom, the 4th track on here, gets me every time. Faust Coven, if you're in the mood for some black doom, There's probably nobody doing it better right now. Check out In the Shadow of Doom. Number 12. This is Candelabrum with Portals. This is a Portuguese one-man project. It's been rumored that it's the same guy from Black Silice. I wouldn't be surprised. If you listen to Candelabrum and you listen to Black Silice, you can kind of connect the dots. But I think Candelabrum is a little bit more raw, which is already saying something because Black Silice is really fucking raw. Black metal, heavy with the synth. The synth almost takes center stage on this album. It's just an absolute dense, almost claustrophobic kind of atmosphere going on here. This is not a feel-good album. This is not an album that you can put on and dance around to. This is an album that you put on when you want to fall into a deep, dark pit of misery and despair. This album will take you there. Candelabrum with Portals, with the most suffocating release of 2018, if you ask me. Coming in at number 12. And to close out this video with number 11, Of Feather and Bone, Bestial Hymns of Perversion. What a fucking 180 from this band. Their past material was a little bit more hardcore influenced. They totally reinvented themselves on this record, and for the better, in my opinion. I think this is by far and away the best material that they've ever put out. It was released by Profound Lore, so you automatically know that it's fucking good. But I saw this band twice when they were on tour with Tomb Mold earlier this year, and they fucking destroyed it both nights, and both nights they played this album in its entirety, all 7 songs. There's not a bad song on this album. To name a few, Resounding from the Depths, my favorite track on here. Lust for Torment, which was the single for this album. Mockery of the Ascension. Pious Abnormality. This record fucking slaps. And I'm so appreciative of this new direction that they've taken, and I hope that they continue to build on that and continue to write material in the vein of this album. Of Feather and Bone with Bestial Hymns of Perversion. So that's it for 2211. The next video will be my top 10, and I hope you stick around for that because I've got 10 really, really fucking good albums to show and talk about. So stay tuned. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you're looking forward to it. Thank you for tuning into my channel, watching this video, and as always, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, all that cool shit. So until the next time, take care.